everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to a new week. So, this morning I woke up and I was like, it is the last week of September and it feels like September has been the longest month ever. And we're going into the last quarter of 2020, October, November, December, the last 90 days of the year. And I had a lot of anxiety this morning, just kind of wrapping my head around what that felt like. It's really interesting to look back on the year and to want to make the most of 2020. And so I really took some time this morning. I did a meditation, I did a little bit of journaling, some reflecting and processing. I had a really great conversation with Helena on the phone, and I just kind of compiled all the things that helped me this morning, and I want to share it with you, especially if you are feeling like you want to make the last 90 days of the year the best, or you want to carry on the good things that you've implemented into your life forward, especially with summer being over. How do you do that? Okay, so this always happens. So ironically, I pulled a card from the Super Attractor deck. So I really love the Super Attractor deck. Any card deck by Gabrielle Bernstein I love, just because it sets a tone for your day. So if you're looking for a journal prompt or something to meditate on, or just a positive thought to take into your day, I really love all the messages. So the card I drew today totally aligned with this, and I want to read it to you guys in case it sparks anything for you. So the card says, "When I merge my desire with faith, I can take action from a place of peace rather than control." So when we start to think about what we want the next 90 days or the last 90 days of the year to look like, I want you to start to merge that desire, the desires that come up for you, with faith that whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen, and faith of whatever you believe in is going to support you in that endeavor. And that when you do commit to that, you can start to take action, make these things happen, bring these desires to life, take action from a place of peace rather than control. The card's also really pretty. But it can be really stressful to have this list of goals and desires and things you want and envision the next 90 days. It can be really overwhelming if you come at that with a place of control and so much being so rigid and stressed about it. So how can we manipulate that and morph that into coming from peace, coming from faith, a trust, but also still taking action and moving forward, because we can't get anywhere just hoping and dreaming and meditating on it, right? We have to move forward and take particular and intentional action. So what I want you to do, this is going to be some prompts that would be great for journaling, and some prompts even when you're going for a walk to think about. So I want you to audit the last 3 months, not the whole year, just the last 3 months. So July, August, September, I want you to write down what you loved, what went really well, and then things that you want to audit moving forward. So I did this for myself in my journal, and I wrote a page of what I really loved. So I'll share a few things that I loved, and I'll share some things I want to audit moving forward, because then it gives you some solid ground as to what's working and what's not working for you particularly. Don't worry about anybody else or anything going on. I want you to really just think about what made your soul feel good. So for me, I did a lot of camping. I was in nature a lot of adventuring. I felt a lot of freedom from that. I felt really creative. I made time to deepen relationships in my life. There was a lot of healing for me, so I felt really healthy because of that. There was some intense growth that came from that. Really got really clear on what my vision was for my life moving forward. I was teaching a lot. I was going live a lot. I started a new hobby that I haven't shared yet, but I fell in love with this new hobby, and it just brought so much joy for me. I did a lot of lifting the past 3 months, which made me feel so strong and super empowered, and I was just really active in general. I was at the beach a lot. So those are all things that were really good. So I'm going to take note as to how can I invite those things into the last 90 days of my year. And then here on the other side, I said, okay, what do I want to audit? So for me, I was on my phone in the technology a lot. So as much as I was in nature and I was outside, I was also doing a lot of stuff on my phone because I was still working. I was doing things like stories and taking content photos and recording things. So how can I challenge the time I spent on technology moving into the next 90 days? Because all my businesses are online, but is there a way I can balance that more? There was a lot of highs and lows, so it was really hard for me to stay kind of in between that. I felt super high on life at times and just so happy, and then there was times where I felt super low. So I'm like, how can I regulate that a bit going into the next 90 days? I didn't do a lot of therapy. I love therapy, and I got back into it September, but I didn't really book a lot of appointments throughout the summer. So that's something I want to be mindful of into the next 90 days, that I'm a little more consistent with that, because I know how beneficial it is for me. I wasn't super intentional about rest in the last 90 days. As much as I was, camping and sitting at a fire, I was still maybe on my phone. So can I plan rest out with more intentionality? September specifically, I was super busy, so crazy, felt really hard to keep up. There's been so many pivots going on, and then it's just something simple, like there wasn't enough reading. I love reading. I didn't read that much in the last 90 days, so that's something I'm going to carry forward into the next 90 days. So for you particular, especially if you're just joining here, the July, August, September, really write down, what did you love about the past 3 months? What brought you joy? What made you happy? What do you want to audit and fix and tweak moving forward, so you don't carry that into the next 90 days? So specifically, when we think about our life in general, I like to break things down into thinking about how can I relieve suffering and relieve stress in my life, because they're going to show up. Stress and suffering, these are just things that are part of the human experience, but is there any ways that I can relieve some of that pressure? Inviting more happiness and joy into my life. Those are choices we have to actively make and make sure that we're carving out time for them. And then 3 is goal setting. So that's the action piece. So using those 3 ideas, eliminating, or not, I don't like the word eliminating, just relieving suffering and stress, inviting in more happiness and joy, and goal setting, which is your action piece of life. How can you start to envision what October, November, and December are going to look like? So then on the other page of my journal, I then wrote down at the top October, November, December. And I just made a list. I kind of just brain dumped a bunch of things that I wanted to incorporate into the next 3 months. Some of them are goals. Some of them are including things that I loved about the last 90 days and carrying it forward. But I'll share some of them, like the new hobby I'm doing and lifting, because it makes me feel really strong. I want to keep doing those things. I want to do another IFF Discover trip. I want to build up my shop on my website, my online shop. I have so much content from the summer that I want to put up there and make it available to you guys. More teaching, more recording. I want to get a new bed for myself, so that's a financial goal where I can save for that, because it's something I really want to gift for myself. I'm going to complete a 30-day running and strength training program, a Merge membership. I have a specific number of members I'd really love to have in there. I want to read 6 books in the next 3 months. There's lots of things here. And so in those 3, I also thought about personal, financial, and professional. So anytime I'm goal setting or planning, I like to have something that fills all 3 of those categories. So for yourself, when you start to dream up what these next 3 months are going to look like, can you try to have something that covers all 3 of those buckets? Personal, professional, and financial. And don't be afraid of the financial bucket. I know that there was a long time where finances were kind of uncomfortable for me, just because I didn't feel super educated. So I want you to, for yourself, maybe that means that one of your goals is to educate yourself. Financial doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like saving to buy myself a new bed is a financial goal. It requires that I'm being mindful of my budget, that I'm saving, that I'm looking out for deals, that I'm doing some research as to what kind of style I want, and so on and so forth. So that's a financial goal, and it doesn't have a set number on it. So just in those goals, try to have something that covers all 3. And that's it. Yeah, today is just super short, because I felt like when I woke up with that load of anxiety about, oh my gosh, the last 90 days of the year is around the corner, we're ending a month. And as soon as I started to, meditate, I pulled a card, and then I did that journaling exercise, I found it really helped me. So I encourage you to do the same thing. What did you love about the last 30 days? How can you carry that forward? What needs to be audited about the last 90 days? And then really dream up what October, November, December can look like for you. Because as much as there's so many things that are outside of our control right now, there are things that are in our control. Things like our morning routines and how often we're moving or exercising. Are you meditating? How many books do you read or podcasts you listen to, or who you spend your time with, where you go, what do your days look like? And so just being able to really envision and get clear on what those next 90 days can look like is going to give you something to look forward to. It's going to give you something to get excited about when you wake up in the morning. something to work towards on your weekends, and really find a balance in our life. I think a lot of us live lives pretty off balanced, and if anything, I think COVID has invited us to slow down and to see life from a different perspective, to not race around so much, to really notice what makes us feel good, and even the little things that can eliminate suffering in some ways. So I want you to remember, when you're dreaming up these next 90 days, that you are incorporating things that are going to help relieve your stress and relieve your anxiety, and that includes things like meditation and moving your body, and that you are also inviting in time for happiness and joy, and that you're not just strictly goal setting for professional life or business or fulfilling things for other people, that you really are carving out time intentionally to make you feel good, and that it invites joy into your life, because that's noticeable. When you're feeling better, when you're healthy and you're happy and you're learning new things and you feel like you're growing and healing and stepping into a new chapter, the best version of yourself, that energy is a ripple effect. The people around you, your family, your friends, the people in your work environment are going to notice that, and that's a good thing to carry around, because if you're happier, it means that the people around you are probably going to be happier too, and you are going to inspire them perhaps to invite in some of the similar habits or the same habits that you have. So if you feel like you don't deserve to do those things, or the things on your vision for the next 90 days are too big, or you don't have time, I really challenge you to think outside of that, to think bigger, to know that even though you're doing something for you, it's still going to affect the other people around you, and you never know what opportunities or connections can come from that. So start small if that helps. You don't have to have a huge vision for the next 90 days. It could be small, and that's okay. Or you could think really big and outside of the box. You're allowed to do that as well. But I hope that helps. We have October 1st is until Thursday, I think, if I remember correctly. So take the next few days and audit what the last 90 days have looked like for you, so that you can step into October feeling fresh and inspired, and with a little bit of a plan of how you can make these things happen and bring them to life. So that is Everyday with Meg today, and I'll talk to you guys soon.